Hello friends, operator Starsky reporting from Kiev, Ukraine. It's day 598 of the Russian invasion, and today we'll talk a bit about the hottest spots on the map, which is Kupiansk, Bakhmut and Avdiivka, and then we'll talk a lot about Russian cringe, because it seems that the terrorist federation literally turned into a factory for producing degenerates. But first of all, we have a new report on the Russian war crimes. A village called Bohatyr in Donetsk Oblast was deliberately hit by the Russian artillery, killing a boy who only celebrated his 11th birthday 2 days ago, and also this hit wounded his mother. Also, every victim of the Russian bombing of the Groza village were identified. They were all civilians. In some cases, several generations of families died. Last week, the Russians murdered 59 civilians of all ages who gathered at a restaurant to mourn a fallen soldier. Russian losses in the past 24 hours consist of almost 8,000 orcs dead, 9 tanks, 24 armored vehicles, and 26 artillery systems. Russian ship exploded yesterday near Sevastopol-occupied Crimea. According to the reports, this ship, type Buyan M, carried caliber cruise missiles and was responsible for the strikes on the civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. The Russian terrorists in Kupiansk are developing a new offensive towards Avdiivka, trying to occupy the line along Oskil River and surround the city. The Russians spent 2 months gathering troops and vehicles in the area, and apparently now they're desperately trying to burn them all in the useless advance. In Bakhmut, it is reported that the Ukrainian defenders keep conducting operations on the tactical level. Yesterday, the Russian observation point was obliterated, but there's nothing more we can say about this location right now due to the OPSEC. The Russian invaders attacking the Ukrainian positions in Avdiivka received an order to take the settlement before 31st of December, according to the chief of the local military administration. Avdiivka is crucial for the Russian terrorists because it opens the door to Pokrovsk and the rest of the Donetsk Oblast. Currently in this area, the Russian troops were only able to move several hundred meters and dig into the ground. It is reported they haven't taken any of the existing Ukrainian positions. And in the social media, different Russian reporters are desperately calling people to buy and send body bags for the Russian soldiers, apparently because they didn't expect their losses in Avdiivka to be so overwhelming.
Кто может помочь купить мешки для трупов? Они очень необходимы. Я хер знает, где их брать, правда. Я сейчас с дороги не успею. Помогите, пожалуйста, купите от себя мешки, кто может. Они очень нужны. В Донецке это дефицит страшный.
The Russian propagandists are nagging that 60% of children at the occupied territories want to learn their native Ukrainian language.
В наших освобожденных областях опросы показали, что в одном районе хотят, вообще говоря, чтобы в школах учились на мове 57% родителей, в другом 60%.
It is so funny to see, those Moscovians being seriously stunned with the fact that Ukrainians want to be free from the alien Russian world and want the invaders to get the fuck out of their land. Another fact caught my attention. So, Chief of the Security Service of Ukraine reported that 2,000 collaborationists and spies were detained since the beginning of the terror Russian invasion. The Russians were speaking of millions of Russian/Ukrainian people oppressed by the Ukrainian far-right nationalist and simultaneously Jewish regime. And basically this is how they justified their invasion if you remember. Now it turns out that out of 40 million Ukrainians, only 2,000 spies were captured. Of course, it's a big number and a huge scope of work done by the operators of the Security Service of Ukraine, but according to the Russian liars, there were millions and millions of poor, oppressed Russian people, for some reason living in Ukraine, and in reality they only existed in the Russian imagination. And speaking of the Russian imagination, which is my favorite topic, I think it's a treasure for the psychiatrists. So this propagandist here literally says that people in the UK have hard time finding fresh veggies and they became so poor, so they have to fix or remove their teeth themselves.
В Великобритании вон, проблемы с овощами на полках, дико растут цены. Я читала статьи, там люди сами себе рвут зубы и даже пытаются пломбировать, потому что там 90 или даже 99% стоматологических кабинетов не берут новых пациентов.
You can add this to the collection of the amazing Russian myths about the UK. People using radiator heaters to warm up food because they have no gas, and Cardiff prostitutes, which is still a mystery to me. I mean, what kind of evil has Cardiff ever done to the Russians? I just don't get it why they hate Cardiff so much. Anyways, the Russian military scientists present... Oh my god. The Russian military scientists presented an Orthodox Russian battlesuit capable of protecting from the attack drones and make Russian soldiers invisible and invincible. To increase the magical abilities of the Russian battlesuit, it was equipped with a holy portrait of Jesus Christ. I've heard rumors that in order to save from low temperatures, the underwear for this battlesuit was produced from a specific fabric containing Stalin's mustache, and I have no idea how I managed to keep a straight face while talking about it. Probably ages of studying Russian bullshit. Okay, and we have another great news from the Parliamentary Assembly of the European Council. The Assembly adopted 2 resolutions recognizing the Russian-inflicted artificial famine, the Holodomor of 1932-1933, as a Russian genocide of the Ukrainian population. Between 3 and 10 million Ukrainians were murdered by the Russian communists in Ukraine in that period. The European countries also pledged to implement necessary steps to help Ukraine win the war against the Russian invaders, and basically Putin was recognized as a dictator and the terrorist federation in its current state as a dictatorship. And the Assembly called all other countries to help arrest Vladimir Putin, also known as Huilo, according to the warrant issued by the International Crime Court. On behalf of every Ukrainian, I would like to say thank you to every supporter of Ukraine, democracy, and freedom, because you are amazing people. With that, I wish you a great day. My name is Operator Starsky, reporting from Kiev, Ukraine. As always, be safe.